Hey there, and welcome back to Ultimate Strength Conversations, Volume 36. Today we have Anthony Haslam on the podcast. Anthony is one of the coaches at One Playground in Surrey Hills. I do apologize, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty to start off with, so the podcast kind of jumps into the conversation in about sort of 10 minutes after we started. So luckily we caught onto the technical difficulty, otherwise you would not be hearing this one at all, or would have to redo it, but that's okay. Anyway, I'll stop rambling on for now and we'll get stuck into it, and you can learn about Anthony and what he does, why he helps people, and the crazy world of high rocks training and everything in between. I'll catch you on the side. Freak out about it all the time, but anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, so that was a good practice run. Let's give us a little bit of a recap or let's get started. How did we get started in the industry, mate?
So I came back from a season in Ibiza, 6 months of drinking and everything but training. And I returned to my university part-time job where I was working in front of house as a receptionist at a gym. And I had graduated from university with a master's in geography. I had
cool.
I had like an idea of what I wanted from my life. At this point I was weighing up whether to go and do another master's. I was looking at possibly studying in Amsterdam, and we didn't talk about this just now, but like this is useful information. But I got to the final round of an internship application. I applied as like one of thousands, and I got to the final round, and I believe it was down to like the final two. And when I didn't get that job, I was like really bummed out, because I was like, in my head, I thought, if you can get through thousands and you get to the final two and it's literally 50-50 and you don't land that job, I took it really badly, to be honest, and I kind of threw away a lot of hope of like anything in that industry. It was like in sustainable consultancy, sustainable development. That's the sort of like route I wanted to go down. Return to this job that I've been doing part-time at university without any real direction. It's kind of directionless post-university, and I think this is not a unique feeling to graduate from uni and not really know where you want to be or what you want to do. And through the gym, they paid for my level 2 and my level 3 certificate in the UK, and I kind of blitzed through them very quickly. We were just talking about how poor the quality of the education from that level 2 and that level 3 was. But nonetheless, it facilitated a move into a career where finally I started to see some things click into place. And so I was taking group classes. I was doing as many spin classes as I could take in a week. I was taking like 4, 5, 6 spin classes a week. And I was just so enthusiastic. I was loving it. Like, I was seeing the very like early stages of success. You know, my spin classes would have like 15 people on the wait list, and it was like, and then I'd look at like other people, and I started to realize that, not in an arrogant way, but people were coming because like I was delivering what people wanted. It was fun, it was energetic, and people were coming to my classes, and I started to enjoy that. I got messaged on Instagram by F45, and that's how I then got involved with coaching there, and that's where things like really sort of started to take a bit more of a leap forward. I was coaching there like 4 days a week, and I was PTing at the original gym, and I was really busy. I was working like double shifts, some days 6 a.m. till 10 p.m, but I was like absolutely loving it, and I was starting to see success. I was starting to see people that I was training was like getting these really like pretty life-changing like results, and I was just getting started. I was literally just emerging. I was like, shit, I love this. I really enjoy it, and it's working. Accelerate a little bit forward, and the opportunity to take on studio manager at that F45 came up, and I sort of dived into that head first. And then it actually came at really bad timing, because I've been looking at this move to Australia, wanting to get stuck into the fitness space here, and just the way things worked out, it was January of this year that I moved over, having taken on studio manager at F45, and it was around like October or November time. So I wasn't there for a lot, but I learnt a lot, and something that I think serves me well is I can take an opportunity for what it is, and three months or however long of running that F45 studio, I learned a lot about working with other coaches and curiosity. And through curiosity, I was able to absorb a lot.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest things, man, is like the people that I've seen do well PT or just anything really, but obviously the fitness industry, it's a tough gig to crack. Like you said, you are curious and you're enthusiastic about it and you enjoy it, but you learn through failing, and because there's a lot of failures in it, and it's you get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of people that might not want to work with you, or might not like you, or not want to vibe with you, whatever it might be. Not in a bad way, but just you can't be that person for everybody. But as you, like you said, you've done a lot. You would work from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You would jump into any opportunity. You would do 4 or 5 spin classes a week, or back to back, or whatever it was. That it's just because you're so engrossed in the process of the whole thing, you can't help but learn. And because you know that each time, like you every time you train a client, you'll be like, oh, in some way, shape or form, you might learn to cue a little bit different way, or let's try this, or let's try that. Like, because I think people think that that PT is really easy. You just tell someone how to do an exercise and they'll do it, and then you count to 10, and we know we can't count to 10 that well, but like you learn from like, oh, well, actually this cue didn't land with that person. But if you were to take all the work you did and cut it in half, you wouldn't learn anywhere near as much.
It's interesting that in a very short space of time, through like different decisions that I've made and like different situations that I've landed up in, I've learned more in like tiny snippets than I have in a large amount of time invested into my level 3 for a very marginal return. 12 weeks here, and a few weeks working with my new coach now, and like these like relatively small windows of time have produced far more knowledge for me. And like you say, you learn by trying. And I've worked with, I've got 20 odd clients here now, some of which I've been working with for 3 and a bit months. Some people far less than that, but I've also like the sheer number of people that you just interact with here, whether it's for assessing their movement as a new member of the gym, or whatever capacity you meet these people. So much trying and a large amount of failing has just produced the situation that I'm in now, and I'm very happy with how things are going.
How do you feel about missing out on the 50-50 thing for now?
The 50-50 in the sense
with when you were going for the position, and
I look back on it now, and I realise like I don't necessarily believe in like things happening for a reason, but I now look back on it and things make sense. I look at a lot of my friends that are doing, I went to a very good school, so the majority of my friends went to university, graduated, grad jobs, and they're kind of down the corporate line. And I look at some of them and they are actually quite happy, but I look at a lot of them and they're working long hours, making not a lot of money, and they're selling themselves to the illusion or to the idea that one day this will pay dividends. And it probably will. It probably will for a lot of them. They will be making very good salaries, down the line. But I look at a lot of people that are genuinely quite unhappy with what they're doing now, especially the rat race in London. I look at people like working really, really long hours, and then when you look at the money they're taking home, it's like when I was working those double shifts in Edinburgh, I was working long hours, but I was making pretty good money because I was, coaching from 6 a.m. till like the middle of the day, like 1-to-1 PT and taking classes, and then I'd go to F45 in the evening or whatever it was, and I was making better money than they were. And I was kind of I was doing what I enjoyed.
And it's satisfying doing like a lot of good work, and also doing what you enjoy as well too. Like the money's not all of it, but it definitely is a thing. And if you're doing it in the thing that you see that is meaningful and you enjoy, and like we're going to spend our time some way, so we might as well spend it doing things that we enjoy, I think.
I always joke that the best thing about this is I really fucking hate wearing trousers and a shirt, and I get to spend my day in shorts and a t-shirt. And it's a very small, small win. But look, I take that, and I spend my day helping people making like real meaningful differences to their life. And I get to do what I enjoy. I train in between. I train as much as I want now. It's like, for me, it
chat shit about training as well too. Like
exactly. And I meet people that are like-minded, and my good friends here are all from the fitness space.
Yeah, same.
And so we do things that like make us tick. And one of my clients, Declan, I was talking to this morning about why he just moved to Australia, and he was like talking about how his group of friends back home, the socializing was centered around the pub. And like I still enjoy going to the pub as much as anyone else, but like in London, going to a pub on a Thursday night is like the done thing, and I want to then be up training at 5 a.m. on Friday morning, and the two things just don't really work, like at least not in like a regular weekly. So finding another way of like socializing with people, whether that's going to run clubs or like, you know, on a Wednesday when we train with the boys together, like that for me is a really enjoyable way of spending my time. And I like it.
Absolutely, mate. And it makes you, it allows you to actually, like, first and foremost, like if we enjoy doing what we're doing anyways, that's enough. That's fulfilling enough. That's meaningful enough. Of like, if you're interested in training, you get to talk about training all the time. You get to make your business about training and helping people. But also then outside of that, it allows you to, I feel it allows you to enjoy the things you do even more. So if you were to ever go away and you needed to, like, you know, on a holiday and there's like a hike that you want to do or something, there's no trouble, no issue you doing a hike or walking or doing whatever it might be. Or if you need to run somewhere, you can run somewhere, like, or if you want to go out and have a beer or two or 1,000 or whatever, you can enjoy it and then know that you're going to work the week after. So then you can,
what I think you're like alluding to there is just like really fulfilling.
It's
really, really fulfilling, both like emotionally, it's financially fulfilling as well, but like emotionally for yourself, I take a lot of pride in like how I work with people. But also I think I'm the fittest and healthiest I've ever been now. And I don't, some of my friends like back home probably look at me and think like, I've lost my marbles. Where's this like the guy who was doing seasons in Ibiza and like out every night at university, and I still like enjoy that. Like, don't
and
get
you
me
still
wrong,
can do that if you wanted to.
I still can do that. I definitely don't drink as much as I used to, but like I don't say I can't. Like if it comes to, if there's something to go out for and there's something that I want to go and drink for, like I'll go and do it. But I don't drink as much as I did, just because that doesn't make me tick the way it did. Now what makes me tick is getting up, working hard, enjoying training, feeling like I'm moving the needle in the right direction, and like that's what brings me like real enjoyment now. Competing, racing, training, working hard, and I'm lucky that my partner Georgie's like very much the same. And things just work. So.
I just see people on the other side of it can't necessarily, not to say that you can't understand it or it's like sides or whatever, but I think people think about fitness as like a chore a lot of the times, where it's hard for people to understand that they enjoy it. But it's like, I think it's like the pursuit of just seeing how much better you can get. Like, human beings are capable of some pretty crazy things. And you know, like your boy that just ran across Australia, like, that's fucking incredible. Like, you know, nice. But if that guy, I'm sure he could probably sink a heap of beers as well too, and just got good at drinking beers. But what's that like?
He talks about after he lost his mum, he was presented with like two paths as like a 23-year-old man, and he could go down like the path of drinking, like drowning your sorrows, or he could find something meaningful. And he said, "Fuck that! I'm going to run the length of the UK." And then now, like, he is nothing short of a force to be reckoned with in the ultra running like space. Because of his attitude. He talks about if I can, I will. And he asks himself, like, can I take one more step? And more often than not, the answer is yes. And if he can, he will. And like, that's powerful.
Absolutely, and just continuing to do stuff. Obviously, that's extreme, but you know, people like him and people like us, like we make a big difference in people's lives and inspire people to do more and live a healthier, happier life. And I think that's this is just a vehicle to allow people to do that. But I think in it as well too, like making sure you find it meaningful, but even just gamifying stuff about it, like the fitness comps, which we'll get to, like the High Rocks, the Fit Series, the conditioning with the boys, like having those elements that make it more meaningful. It just makes it more meaningful versus the route of, if someone, I think when people think fitness, they think, you know, it could be out of punishment or it's solely for aesthetics and that is bad or whatever it might be. And there's nothing wrong with aesthetics, and I think that's, for me, it's part of it. But also like looking and feeling and being able to perform like an athlete, I think, and showing other people what they're capable of.
Exactly, that's power. And that's why it doesn't feel like a chore getting up at 4 a.m. Monday to Friday to work.
You haven't done it for long enough. Yeah. No, it doesn't. Yeah. But there's the thing, like I've done it for 13 years now, and basically for 13 years got up, you know, probably 90% of the time at that time in the morning, sometimes earlier to get here from Cronulla. But I would it's funny, hey, because I nearly went into I was going to become a chef, and I was like, oh, I don't like the hours, they're too long. But in reality, I've ended up working way more hours than a chef would. But like the later start, later finish, versus I have a really early start and a really late finish. But doing stuff that is meaningful makes such a big difference. Yeah. You know, and if you enjoy it, you'll probably be good at it. So like when we'll get to that, then what are you most passionate about when it comes to health and fitness? You've kind of alluded to it a little bit more, but like if you had to answer that.
I think for me, and this has been a revelation, like personally, like recently, my passion lies in getting people performance oriented. I think that's what my like coaching philosophy that I've established like centers around. And I think the core belief at the center of my like training philosophy, if you will, is that everyone, no matter what stage of their training life they're at, would benefit from chasing some sort of performance goal. So like more often than not, people, although most of my clients now are performance related or performance oriented, they didn't all start that way. So a lot of people come in with an aesthetic goal and they want to fit into a dress, or they want to get in shape for their wedding, or you know, enough is enough, and they want to get back in control of their weight, or they want to get stronger, whatever it is. They tend to be aesthetic goals. A lot of people come in with performance goals, particularly now, having established myself as like the High Rocks guy around
extraordinaire.
Here. Your words, not mine. I do get a lot of clients that come in looking for that, but a lot of my clients aren't initially looking for that, and actually I don't force it upon anyone, but I believe so passionately that when you start to chase a performance goal, the other stuff takes care of itself. And rather than it being a chore of like turning up and doing 12 to 15 reps and then like, you know, trying to grow your chest and trying to lose a few pounds here, like rather we're trying to run a 10K in a certain time, or we're trying to get to 10 bodyweight pull-ups, or we're trying to get a sub 70 High Rocks, whatever it is, the aesthetic stuff like takes care of itself. And I've seen this for myself, like rewind even like 12, 14 months ago, I was training for aesthetics, and I wasn't necessarily fulfilled, nor was I necessarily like wild about my training. I wasn't really enjoying it. I'd come and do push, and then the following day I'd do pull, and I'd kind of like meander through my training like that. And like looking back at videos and pictures of me then, like I wasn't unhealthy. I wasn't like, I certainly didn't have a particularly mad rig. Like I wasn't shredded, and I wasn't massive, but I was just kind of like meandering, ambling through training. And then I started to discover competing and like performance, and I've not thought, or I very rarely think about like training a specific body part for the aesthetics, bar arms, obviously.
Absolutely.
Like now I train for performance, and like my body, if I look at how I look in the mirror now compared to then, it's like night and day. And so yeah, that's what I'm most passionate about in training, is getting people to realize that there's more to training than just coming to build your chest, or just coming to lose some weight, or to grow your legs. Actually find a goal that really makes you tick, and that stuff will take care of itself. I've got clients that are like, I look at how much weight they've lost in 12 weeks, and like it's quite impressive, but like I'm not weighing in with them every single day. I'm not like forcing like really like harsh calorie like cuts on them. Like the training's taking care of itself because we're training high intensity, we're doing the conditioning and the strength stuff, like applying these principles, and people are getting the changes they want without hyper fixating on the aesthetics.
Yeah, and one point you said there that I really vibe with is, or 2 points. I really love the performance aspect of it, because it gives a little bit more purpose to something, and you're always progressing, as opposed to like if losing weight, which is nothing wrong with it. It's part of what I do for my clients and what I got into it. But if you just always chase that, it's kind of always a negative goal constantly. Whereas improving performance, can we get you to run faster? Can we lift heavier? Can we do a sub 70 high rocks, whatever it might be? But it all comes back to the principles, and if you can take those principles, like good training principles, you can apply it to a fit series high rocks deadly dozen, or you can apply it to this person just wants to see the performance on their trap bar deadlift go up because that's meaningful to them.
Performance is different for everyone, and I'm like totally aware of that. Like for some people, it's getting a bodyweight pull up. But then you get one, and then it's like, what's the next goal?
Next,
okay, cool, now
it's progression.
I want to get 5. Like suddenly I'm doing bodyweight pull ups. Now I want to do a muscle up. And it's like, you can keep on like progressing. And like one of my clients, Frances, she won't mind me like telling you this, but she came to me after probably about 10 or 12 weeks ago. She had 5 ACL surgeries in her knee. She comes from a background of running, and she came to me because she wanted a strength program that was going to kind of help her with her injury rehabilitation and ultimately get her back to running. She texted me last night at about 10 p.m. I didn't see it till this morning at 5 a.m. She's just bought a ticket for High Rocks. And I've not forced that upon her. I don't force my like ideology on anyone, but like by my nature and by how like we train, and like just by instilling a little bit of like performance orientation, a little bit of competitiveness, and like in the day-to-day sessions, these things like naturally come about. And now I've got like 11 people racing Sydney.
That's sick.
Which is, for me, that's what makes me tick, and that's why like getting up at whatever time in the morning to come and train, giving up my Sundays to come and put on sessions, like it doesn't feel like a chore to me.
No, it's just what you'd be talking about this stuff anyway.
That's
like
what I enjoy. So yeah, that's really where my passion lies. It's like seeing what would make this person, or what goal could we give this person beyond the superficial weight loss or muscle gain that's going to get them moving more purposefully towards their goal. And you want to lose weight. Well, losing weight is going to happen if you're training to do a 5K time trial. And losing a bit of weight is going to benefit you in your quest of getting a faster 5K time trial. You want to get stronger, or entering a competition that involves some sort of like lift element, like a turf games or even a high rocks. Like getting stronger is going to benefit you, and that becomes like a secondary goal because you're so caught up in chasing high rocks that like everything else happens without you even like necessarily meaning to. And that's powerful. Like,
and that can just continue to pull people forward as well too, and all the other positive things that they can get from that, like that they can just apply to other physical elements of their life, which is really cool. And on the high rocks, while we're on the topic of that, how did that come about, mate?
So around about 12 months ago, I entered my first one. It was like doubles in Gdansk in Poland. I entered with another PT from that first gym I was working at. Like at the time, I think it was like 114 we did, and at the time, like that was for 2 people who were completely new to this. Like I wasn't following any sort of program. I was just kind of winging my training. I think I'd used a ski erg once. The gym I was at, we didn't have ski erg, we didn't have a sled track. I was doing my wall balls with like a dead ball because we didn't have like nice leather wall balls.
Just making it happen, mate.
Made it happen, and look, we turned up. We went to Poland. It was good fun. We had a great weekend. Like it was cool. And we did like pretty well, like 114, like back in, like now, that's not like some of the times people are racking now is insane.
What's the world record now?
Like doubles are going like 50 minutes, sub 50 now. Like there's a relays, I think that's like 47 minutes is like the world record for a relay. And so it's insane, but at the time I think it was like, looking back, I was pretty happy with that. And like we went with no expectations, we hadn't trained together, like we just kind of winged it, and I had a great time, but I knew I wanted more from that moment. It sounds so cliche, but like you do it and you're like, what's next, when's next.
It's human nature, I think.
Yeah, I came back, I entered the ballot for London, didn't hear back for about 2 weeks, and like all these events were selling out, so I was like, oh shit, I've not got a place in London. So I bought a ticket to go to Stockholm, and it happened to be the week after London. Literally not a day after I got my ticket for Stockholm, I heard back from London, and suddenly I was now faced with having never raced a singles Hyrox before. I was now racing in back-to-back weekends. So yeah, I started to take my training a little bit more seriously. This coincided with my move to F45, and suddenly now I had like better kit on my hands. I had a sled that I could use. I had a ski that I could use, and I started to take my training a little bit more seriously. Still like largely programming everything for myself. Towards the latter end of my training program, I actually jumped on March On, which taught me a lot. And I learned a lot from that experience, and I attribute some of my success to like reaching out and trusting experts.
Sounds like you're very observant, mate. You take on board a lot of stuff that's going on, which I don't think a lot of people do. So
I don't think my where I am now and the sessions I deliver can't be attributed to one piece of education or knowledge, and I'm sure this is the case for most people, but I would say what I deliver on a day-to-day basis, my coaching product is a product of all these different places I've been, people I've worked with, services I've used, and yeah, it's just like the kind of sum of that is what I now deliver.
And experience it yourself too, man. You know what it's like to go through a bunch of Hyrox now, so you can help people with that knowledge that you've got from all the other things and the experience and knowledge from that. You can, and I no doubt you'll continue to learn and progress and all those sorts of things, which is cool.
I had a chat with one of my female Hyrox clients the other day. She's training for a doubles, never raced before. And we finished the conditioning session, and she kind of said to me, she's just like, I don't think I can do it. Like, this is too much right now. Like, I can't do it. And I'm thinking now, like, the training that these clients are going through now and getting them ready is like leaps beyond what I did for my first one. And everyone's different. Like, I'm not naive to that, but the experience that I have and the lessons that I took from going just headfirst in, not really knowing what I was doing, and now like considering myself pretty well like versed in the demands of the race. I think that was a really useful experience.
But I think like it's one of those things it's such a good event that it's got so many people into conditioning more than ever. Like obviously the rise of run clubs has popped up alongside the Hyrox, and it's hard. It's really hard, good training, and it encompasses a lot of things. But none of the elements of it are impossible for the vast majority of the population. Obviously there's some people with disabilities or whatever it might be, but in terms of, and even now people doing it in wheelchairs and stuff, aren't they?
It's so accessible.
Yeah, and you can just, as long as you can keep moving forward, and like you said, your boy is like one step in front of the other. If you can take that step, you can do the next thing, and you can get on a ski erg, and it doesn't matter how fast you go. I think when people put an unrealistic expectation on themselves, like you said, you just went into it and had a crack, and then just try and put an effort into something so cool.
I was a head judge in London for Hyrox, and I was working on the wall ball station when the ladies single, the women's singles were coming through, and one of the last women to finish, like the next heats had all gone off, like men's doubles were coming through or whatever it was, and took her nearly 3 hours. But she got it done. And I say this to a lot of people: if you're capable of squatting deep enough that you can get your hip below your knee, you can do it. It's not like CrossFit. You don't need to be able to snatch a barbell over your head.
Skill,
you don't need to
work.
You don't have any of this like gymnastics. You just need to keep going. There's nothing inaccessible about Hyrox. You just have to keep going. Even if it takes you 3 hours of walking, and even if every burpee takes you 45 seconds, like
just do one after the other.
Just one after the other, like you will finish it. No,
it's cool. It's really, really cool to see. What the question that I got on Instagram from the serious question I got on Instagram was, How do you find the perfect balance for your high rocks training? Because you do a lot of training, mate. How do you manage it?
There's no such thing as the perfect balance. Like perfect balance is going to look different for everyone. The split that I program for myself and my high rocks clients, I believe is pretty optimal, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect for everyone. But I go a full body day, an upper body day, a lower body day. The upper and the lower both have a conditioning element at the end. I have a high rocks like specific conditioning day. That's like a Metcon session, like 40 minutes. Some of them are a little bit longer, up to an hour, focusing on the stations and the demands of high rocks. And then I have a run a week.
Cool.
For some of my clients who are coming from a strength background and the running is more important, I have them running twice a week, and something has to give. My training, I practice what I preach largely. Like I follow my own program, but like I've got other things that I'm doing as well. So I'm working on my Olympic lifting with Billy, and that means that some of the stuff gives. So I probably don't do the full body session most weeks, but I always hit the upper and the lower. I hit the conditioning.
Got to get the arms, mate.
Yeah, always finish with a pump.
Yeah, the business card.
Yep, like Hunter said himself, biceps win races. So
that's it.
So yeah, I don't profess to have the perfect balance by any means, and like I often get to the weekend and I feel like I've been hit by a train.
But you love it, so you do it all again next week.
I do it next week, and someone says, "Oh, like, do you want to come run with me tonight?" And I'm like, "Fuck it, yeah, why not?" And then I like the following day regret it because I'm now like overtrained, or like someone's like, "Do you want to jump in on this conditioning session?" I'm going to say yes every single time, even if it means I get to Friday and I honestly like can't straighten my arms, my traps are fried, my erectors are fucked. Like,
but better to give it your all and be like, I'm exhausted, than be like, I didn't do enough.
No, I like meandered, as I said, I ambled through my training for too long. I am now like locked in. I'm like fully in, and I like it. I enjoy it. As I said, I'm not. I don't profess to be perfect. I overcook it most weeks, but like. I'd rather do that. I learn by getting it wrong.
That's the thing, and I think at the end of the day, like, there's a handful of people in the world that are going to be like the absolute best at things, and like more power to you if you're those people. But like us training, we are above average compared to the average person, but also like it should be fun at the end of the day. And if it's ripping a conditioning session with the boys that you like, okay, maybe that's off plan, but you're like, I had a good time. You'll know when you can't do it, but like, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to pull it back. But just trying and doing everything, because there might be an opportunity to be world class. You're still young, but definitely not for me as a 33-year-old. So I'm just going to do anything anyway.
Yeah, look, mate, I like. So many people on Instagram now, like, they've taken all of the enjoyment out of their training, and they're like chasing this this idea that they're a professional, and like maybe some of them will
take elements of it, but
and they're like spending thousands of pounds on like Normatec boots so they can like recover every evening, and I'm just like, like, if you've got money to spend on that, fair enough. But I enjoy my training. I'm not a professional athlete. I'm never going to be a professional athlete. I'm not here to break world records at high rocks. I don't claim to be the best high rocks athlete, but I claim to give it my best shot, and I will give it my best shot. And that's always been, for me, what's been my biggest asset. I'm not naturally gifted. Like, going back to school when I used to row, like, I'm like not even 5'11". Like, the best rowers are like 6'7", right? I don't have the physique to be a good rower, but like I would consistently like have an ability to put myself in the bin that other people like at 16 maybe didn't. I'd enter the first triathlon I raced. I came out of the swim. The first triathlon I entered, came out of the swim like dead last or second last. By the end of the cycle, I was like top 5. And I know how to play to my strengths, and I know how to push myself hard, and that's what's always got me through high rocks. I'm not the best. I'm not the most naturally gifted, but I can put myself through the ringer.
Give it a crack, which is cool. It's just like one of the things that I love about it, like the competition stuff, is just seeing people absolutely rinse themselves. Just there's no reason other than just like see what you got. Just because the lads are like having a crack as well too, and like just everybody getting around. Like, why not push that a little bit harder? Obviously, you don't want to get to the point where you hurt yourself and stuff like that, but just like give it a crack. Like,
do it and enjoy it, man. Like, enjoy the training. I now like look forward to on a Wednesday when we train with, even though like a lot of the time, you know, playing to my strengths, those sessions going to probably involve running, and you know, when some of the bigger guys that we train with, like, they've got a lot more body weight behind me and they can pull much bigger numbers on the ergs, and I'll be fighting for my life to try and keep up with them. But fuck it, I love it. But like that time where you do, like, it's meaningless in a way, but that time where you just like, you might just get ahead of someone that they normally get you or whatever. Like, there's just that little bit of win of like, you pushed harder than you could before. It's an uplifting culture where like you're all training to be better than each other, and that like lifts, a rising tide lifts all boats. Like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and when you talk about it, like, I get excited about it. I can see people get excited about it, but it's never, you're not complaining about anything. You're not putting anybody down. You're not. I think it's cool. I think I love it, mate.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you think? Quickly, a couple of the mistakes people make when they're training for a high rocks.
Underestimating the running.
Yeah.
Is a big one, although I'm seeing a shift of that now. People see like 8 stations and they think they need to invest all their time in doing 100 unbroken wall balls. Well, if you can't run a 4:30 kilometer, like, it doesn't matter. If you're like running is like 50% of the time. If you want to be pushing for like that 60 minute high rocks, you probably need to be having less than 30 minutes of running. Like your cumulative running time probably needs to be less than 30 minutes. So yeah, biggest mistake for me that I see people making with their running, with their high rocks training is not doing enough running. Second biggest mistake, don't underestimate the difference between training for a doubles and training for a solo. And I see this with people when they've entered a doubles and for whatever reason the partner pulls out or whatever, or they get given a last minute solo ticket, the step up or the difference between is massive. And the doubles is quite an accessible format, right? Because you get 60, sometimes 90 seconds to rest while your partner's working.
It's a lot.
And that's like a really decent amount of time to bring your heart rate down. Like, if I look at my heart rate data from like all of the times I've raced solo, I'm like at like 175 to 185 BPM, like, for the whole time.
The whole thing, it's gnarly.
It's pretty tough. If you race as part of a double, you get like a bit of time to bring that under, and you can't underestimate how important that is. So yeah, I also think, like with everything, going off too hot is so classic. Am I going to do it again? Absolutely. Like, you know, like you're standing in this like this start tunnel, the Red Bull like signs there. The
and this is where you get to feel like a professional.
I get goosebumps now, like, thinking about it. And am I going to run off too hot? Absolutely. Am I going to hit the ski and come off first? Absolutely. But like, that's a mistake. And like, knowing how to manage that, like I joked, like I will probably always go off too hot, but I know how to rein it back in when it comes to the sleds, and like to make sure that I don't have to fight for my life for the last 20 minutes. So yeah.
But I think to the point, coming back, like, we're not professional athletes, but these events allow you to feel a little bit like what that professional athlete feels like. And I think that's such a cool thing when things in, like, everybody admires athletes. Just about everybody admires athletes. And the reason why we admire athletes is because they're good at something. They worked really, really hard to make it look like it's really, really easy. And then also these like little elements of, like, you know, like you said, the compression boots, I'm like neither here nor there with them. I don't think most people probably need them, but just those little elements of that. Then when you get to stand in the tunnel with the Red Bull stuff and that, like, that's cool. You get to get on the podium at the end of the day.
Yeah, you get to feel like an athlete, and you've trained like one. So like, it's
what you see growing up as a kid, like, you know, looking
these guys at the pinnacle of their game, like they are. It's like some of the rigs, like you see, like these people are like fit, strong, fast, and that's what makes high rocks so like attractive to me. Is that you don't just need to be like super strong if you're not fast as well. You don't just need to be a super fast runner, but then not strong enough on the stations. You need to have like a really all-round, well-developed engine. You need to be fit as fuck. You need to be strong. Like, you can't just be a one-trick pony, otherwise you'll get called out. Like,
we did a session with guys going to Worlds on Tuesday, and I was like, oh fuck me, like there's levels to this.
There's levels.
And like I'm from the competitions, I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in fitness wise, and like I still hold my own with it, but I was like, oh fuck, like he's got a gas tank on
it.
You know?
And just keep going, like.
At fast numbers as well too.
Doesn't like the elite 15 is like insane what they can do.
Yeah, ridiculous. Let's go quickly off the bat. Top 10 exercises for you, mate, and why not necessarily you as what you would program for your clients, but like what gets you going? Top 10 exercises.
Top 10 exercises in any particular order.
Any particular order. You'd probably say favorite one first.
I'm going to go pendulum squat first because it's not something I had access to in my previous gym, and I realised I don't use it in my own training now, but how much of a game changer it is for clients who are not yet ready to back squat for whatever reason, but you can get them into a really deep squat. They're locked into position. It's pretty safe.
It's nasty as well too.
And it can like going back to what we were saying about like chasing that performance element, like you get an experience of like training something that's really hard. It's really humbling, and so I love to program that for my clients. Pendulum squat is up there. I love a pec deck chest fly for the pump.
And the photo at the end of the day with at the end of High Rocks with your number on it.
Exactly. You need to have a chest.
Absolutely.
What else I like?
I love how like talking about performance goals and like you go straight in for an aesthetic.
We'll get onto the more useful stuff. I like a dumbbell thruster or push press. Like very athletic movement. And something that can be thrown into a gnarly conditioning workout. Single arm or an alternating dumbbell snatch.
Nice.
Also just like can get thrown into any conditioning workout. Devil's press on that like note as well.
All the shit ones, mate.
I just go for the horrible stuff.
I suck so bad at all these ones. Like I hold my own pretty decent on an erg with the boys, but then anytime like last year when I was doing conditioning with Sam and Billy and Robbie, like keep up with them on the erg. As soon as they get onto the dumbbell stuff, Billy's just fucking super efficient. I'm all right for the thruster. I've got a bit of a squat on me, so I'm good with that. But like the dumbbell snatch and the devil's press is terrible.
And I think the devil's press is a great exercise if you're training for high rocks. You've got like the burpee element, you've got an overhead press.
True. Tick a few boxes in there.
Other exercises I like. I use a reverse sled drag for a lot of clients as well, particularly for people who are running or have lots of like running mileage in their training program. It's a really useful exercise. A lot of my high rocks clients, I program a TRX sled drag as opposed to a sled pull. I believe getting into like the habit of dragging the sled rather than trying to muscle it through with your arms is like really valuable, and therefore putting you on a bit of kit that forces you to drag it as opposed to pull it.
So much more accessible as well too. The rope's cool, but like the setup time, like it's pain in the ass in a busy gym, and you can do so much more volume of the sled than you could do the rope.
100%.
What's that? 6, 7?
6. So I'm trying to think if there's anything more niche that Philly press, quite useful. So you rack a kettlebell kettlebell on your one side, and then you're going to be in a half kneeling position, off tall kneeling position, and you press the dumbbell overhead. So great core exercise there, especially if you pair that with some sort of carry, like a mixed rack carry or a suitcase carry. That's a really functional way of training, forcing your core to like hold you still while you're pressing on one side. I like that. Billy got me on side bends on the back extension. They've become a bit of a staple of my training recently.
Feels like you're just being kicked in the side the next day.
I'm feeling it today. Like, I love it. I don't know if we've got any more to do.
I think that's 8. 2 more.
Zottman curls.
Nice.
Yeah.
Arm swing races.
Yeah. They do. Yeah. One more. Weighted pull-up.
Nice.
Weighted pull-up I use in my High Rocks program as opposed to a lat pull down, which might be more accessible for most people. But if you're, I'm sort of talking purely for me and for a lot of my High Rocks athletes, they are at the level where they can do a weighted pull-up.
Yeah.
I love. If you can do an exercise that a lot of people struggle to do body weight and then add weight to it, it's just like sick.
There you go.
Yeah.
We need that stuff.
I know, a little bit, within reason.
Absolutely, we need it. Mate, very unique list. That's not the list that people usually...
Yeah, I've tried to be a little bit out there, to be honest. Like, everyone can say bench press. Like, everyone loves the bench.
Yeah. But your list, mate, your list. There's only one of you. What would you say...
Thank God for the rest of them.
yeah. What would you say most overrated and underrated when it comes to fitness?
Most overrated.
I have a couple for each, but like, what do you think? Like, a couple that stand out.
I'm gonna get shit for saying this, but is a barbell bench overrated?
Might be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Context matters.
Context, unless like you're looking like you're a power lifter and you're like looking for your barbell bench specifically for competition, like dumbbells. Yeah. For me, I like training with dumbbells.
But no one ever asks how much do you dumbbell bench.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Maybe it's.
I guess what's biasing my opinion here is I don't feel my chest as much as I could when I do a barbell bench. Do I still do it? Yeah, of course I do. But like for me, I can feel my chest working, and I get the activation that I'm ultimately seeking if I press dumbbells.
I think when it comes to a barbell, you'll see the people, like we all have our own biases, but when people that typically feel a lot of chest on a bench press will have very advantageous mechanics for it. They'll probably have a little bit shorter arms, a little bit shorter levers. They'll probably usually have quite wide shoulders and big rib cage. So when they set up on a bench press, they're like pecs all day. This is great. They usually lift a lot of weight, so their ego ticks that box. But if you're not that way inclined, for me, barbell bench, one of the worst exercises for just feeling my chest.
Yeah.
Dumbbell's way better. And I bench for ages and just like shoulders and triceps.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really good, like to the point of performance-based exercise, it's a really good exercise for that.
Yeah.
But if you don't need to do a barbell bench press.
Yeah, and maybe you test at the start of a block and you test at the end of the block, but you do a lot of your work. Like there are other ways to tick that box.
But it can definitely be overrated.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to the old gym where I first started. We had an adductor and an abductor, abduction and an adduction machine. Waste of space on the gym floor. Yeah. Waste of space on the gym floor. Yeah. Especially like I can picture like I'd see people like sitting on them like texting like this. Like training with no intensity, no concentration. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
so
that's
overrated.
Yeah.
Like the gym floor wasn't that big. There were loads of like great bits of kit that were missing.
Yeah.
And like you have these two like useless bits of kit. Like, overrated.
Yeah.
Underrated. This is tough. I have recently decided that the glute drive upstairs is underrated.
Yeah.
I used to program barbell hip thrusts for a lot of people, and now the only thing that would stop me programming that is that the kit is always used. It's always taken here. But I think it's quick
to set up and stuff.
Yeah, it's the glute drive is so quick. You stick the weights on and you're in and out.
Rip in.
Again, like similar to the like the pendulum, you've got like some like stability, like you've got some reference, like a frame of reference to use. Like so, for a lot of people, I think the glute drive is a really good way to train the hinge without like loading. Like save your back. So glute drive, and that's a recent change of heart for me.
Yeah. Hip extension, hip flexion at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think the limitations of the barbell hip thrust, which is more just if you have a bias to be biased towards those things being limiting factors and you don't want to deal with that, I won't. But if I'll put someone on the glute drive, because it's like, oh cool, set it up, bang.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Let's find one more overrated.
The hip thrust is also like, it's the female version of a bench press.
It's like the gold standard.
Yeah, and it's like, how much is your hip thrust? No one really cares. Some people, because like you move it so little little distance that they put so much weight on there, and then they don't end up actually getting the thing that they want out of it. When as you jump on that, the range is there. No one really cares about the weight. But bench and hip thrust, like the weight is very important.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
Yeah.
I need something else overrated.
What's underrated?
Underrated.
What do people miss, mate, when it comes to training?
What do people miss when it comes to training? I think potentially having something like plyometric in there, or some sort of like conditioning element. A lot of people, like particularly when you start out in the gym and you have a very like entry level program, I think often we're like scared to program things that might be like a little bit high intensity, like an AMRAP or something like that. And I've recently gone more all in on that. I think people benefit from like exposure to like powerful movements and to high intensity stuff, like within reason, from an early stage in their training program. It's also like can be quite a fun style of training. Break up the monotony of like 3 or 4 strength sessions in the gym. So a lot of my like newer clients, I'm getting them in on like a conditioning session at an accessible level. So it's not really an exercise, but I think that's overlooked. It's missed from a lot of people's training. Yeah,
I think as well too. People either think people think that you just got to die in conditioning straight up, but like it's easier to get into than strength training. It's literally just moving at a little bit of faster pace, and then a little bit faster, a little bit more, a little bit more.
And it's so common that people come in and they say they hate cardio, and that's because they have this like perception that cardio means sitting on a Stairmaster for 45 minutes or doing an incline walk on the treadmill for 45 minutes. Well, actually, we can do 25-minute strength session and then go do 15 minutes conditioning at the end. You're going to enjoy it a lot more. Like you're going to get like the skill development as well as like raising your heart rate and testing yourself. So
and you get so much more capacity than in your strength sessions, because you've just got something that's probably a little bit lower skill relative to the strength stuff. That if you can increase your heart rate, like you said, improve your cardiovascular fitness, you might be able to rest a little bit less, or actually retain more information in the strength work. And same thing with the plyos as well too. Like from a longevity standpoint outside of the gym, like we need to be able to move. Human beings can move, and we can run, and we can jump, and we can do all these sorts of things. And if you don't ever do those things, and when you need to, you're not going to be able to. And you can, like you said, it's scalable for everybody. You've seen my clients, the older guys, they're 77 and 87, and they're still doing some 100%. Form of plyometric, because that's Matt Duncan's doing, but because they were his clients. But he said, just try to equip them with everything that they lose as they age, because that's what usually happens is people lose things and then they don't ever get them back. But you've
got them moving out of the sagittal plane, like doing everything.
And doing some depth drops, although it's slightly small. But like if they were to miss their step on something, they're not going to fall over and break the hip. Touch wood.
I want to go back and add tib raises to my underrated.
Particularly the running.
Tib raises, unilateral hamstring work.
Nice.
Cool.
Good little list there. Let's round up, mate, because you got to get into a session soon enough, and they're probably going to be starting to set up the class. What's 3 fun facts no one knows about you?
3 fun facts that no one knows about me.
Is there a TV show or something in there?
I featured on Below Deck.
How did that come about?
When I was working in Ibiza, actually, I was asked. The production team were coming to the club I was working at, and they said that they wanted a male host to like be mic'd up to like bring them to the table and stuff. And like I was asked as like a potentially suitable candidate if I'd mind doing it, and I said
good looking young English boy, of course.
Annoyingly, I signed like the agreement, whatever, at that point, believing that it would just be that I was just going to walk people to the table and like have a little bit of a chat, maybe a little bit of flirting. But my flirting got me in trouble.
No good-looking English boy in Ibiza has ever said that.
No, I know. I did end up spending a night on the yacht, which made for good TV. But yeah, it's not my. You know what the issue was? Is this was like 2 summers ago, and it was like. It's only aired like, I don't know, less than 6 months ago.
Right, okay.
And it's like this version of me that was like causing carnage in Ibiza 2 years ago came back to haunt me like 2 years down the line, and now like settled in a very happy relationship, and like all of this stuff is like coming back out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a very fun fact that people need to know about you.
No regrets, so it was a little bit of fun.
What else have we got that's fun, mate?
I'm a bit of a mixture when it comes to like my heritage and my like passport. So I've got a Dutch passport. I lived and went to school in London. I was born in South Africa. Lived there for the first half of my life. Then went to university in Edinburgh. Stayed in Edinburgh beyond university, and now I don't really have somewhere that I call home. I don't have that feeling or that the emotions and whatever that people attach to that like notion of home. I don't have that. I have kind of lived and settled in so many different places that I don't strongly feel about anywhere, and I think that's like why I've like found it so easy to settle in here. I don't have a something that I call home. I've got the house that my parents live in, and I spent a number of years there, but I don't associate necessarily anything more than that. That's where my family are, and and I love them, but I don't feel like strongly like that's home. I feel like I can settle kind of anywhere. Yeah,
that's cool. I think from like an adaptability standpoint, if you've gone and travelled and been a lot of places, like then you can go anywhere. But then obviously on the flip side of it, if there's not that thing, but it's also people create meaning to or put meaning around that just because it's a thing that people have meaning to. Yeah,
I agree. It doesn't have to be anything more sentimental than that. It doesn't have to. And for me, it's not like I have a wonderful relationship with my family and my friends, but everyone's scattered around now because of the fact that I spent so many years in South Africa and Edinburgh, and like friends and family are all over the world. And so for me, it means that settling is pretty easy.
Yeah, for sure. And then somewhere like Bondi, mate, there's a lot of different cultures over there.
Yeah,
and
so many different cultures.
It's basically
Welsh,
also,
Irish,
it's basically a part of England at some point.
It does feel like that at times.
So how long were you in London for? Because you said you spent half your life in
so I was
South Africa.
I went to school in London, and that was from the age of like 11.
Right, okay.
It was like the equivalent of secondary school. I was in secondary school in South London, and then when I was 18 or so, I would have then moved to Edinburgh for uni, and I was like coming back and forth for like summer and stuff. And then I graduated from uni nearly 3 years ago now, and up until moving here, I stayed in Edinburgh beyond then. And then it was Cape Town, South Africa before that. Yeah,
because I was just wondering with your accent's very like
it's
English.
UK, I sound as British as you can come, but confusingly, I have a Dutch passport. So I'm actually not a British citizen. I don't have British citizenship. I sound about as English as. I think I made the first time I met you was on the platform at Central, and you made the joke about how so traditional, like so predictable. You're getting on the train going that way to Bondi. And, you know, I sound British, and I've come from England, but I'm actually
you're not English. That is a very fun fact, mate. Well, hopefully I didn't offend you. Sure, you can't get offended by the accent,
though. I don't mind, and also it's to be expected.
If it, what do they say? If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably most of the time it's a duck.
Most likely it's a duck. In this instance, I'm a duck.
Right, man, that's good.
Nice, pleasure.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Hopefully there's some value in that.
Oh man, I reckon you'll get a heap out of it. Like,
nice.
I think the cool thing about it, let's hope that it recorded. Yes. The cool thing about it